brands need to look at their product mix and their offering and really evaluate, is this as relevant now as it was 3 months ago?
Many people are concerned about a massive economic slowdown, or perhaps a slower than expected recovery in a post-COVID world. Now, how do you effectively get in front of your target customers? Hi, I'm Andre Chandra, founder and CEO of Propelo Media. Leaders rise up in challenging times. In today's Ask an Expert series, we're joined by Grayson Lafrenz, founder and CEO of Power Digital. Now, Grayson believes that this new environment is an opportunity for companies and marketers to finally change this marketing mindset to focus more on better targeting and more results, more precise results, not just eyeballs. This is not necessarily a new idea, but an idea that is becoming a necessity to survive these days. Listen to our conversation. So, Grayson Lafrenz, thank you for joining our podcast. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. You're with a company called Power Digital. Maybe you can introduce to our audience who you are and what your company is all about.
Yeah, so I'm Grayson Lafrenz. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders for Power Digital, and we're a performance marketing agency. And so we really work with brands that are looking to disrupt industries and help them scale revenue and grow profit. And so it's very much, driving the right customers to the web property or website, and then a lot of conversion rate optimization type of work to get the best conversion rate possible. And then, really working with the brands to take their customers and figure out how to increase lifetime value and make that experience as strong as possible.
Great. Now, as we record today, businesses have started reopening, and yet at the same time, there's fears of a second wave or maybe secondary outbreaks and all that. It's been a really tough 3-4 months, right? Can you share? You and I are both in marketing. Maybe you can share a little bit how you perceive marketing is changing and being impacted by COVID.
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, I feel our company, we felt very blessed through this because, we've been able to operate very seamlessly going remote. We took about 145 team members remote in a 2-day period early when this occurred. And so we were blessed to be able to really be productive and efficient and do our business pretty much as normal remote. I think that the marketing landscape is changing. I think it's really good for our business in that brands are looking to invest in channels and initiatives that you can show a very clear ROI against. And so for us, being more middle to bottom of the funnel on the performance marketing side, really everything we do is ROI centric and focused. And that is what we're reporting against is what's the investment and then what's the return on that investment. And so we're seeing more dollars go towards those initiatives. Some of the more top of the funnel, important yet maybe a little bit more fluffy types of stuff, we've seen slow down, but we've seen more demand and a larger need for brands to be more efficient on how they acquire new customers. And I think one thing that's been really interesting is we've seen the leading brands stay aggressive on their offense. They're also playing defense and looking at how they can reduce overhead and get more efficient and reduce their fixed costs, but they've stayed the course on offense. And so that's really where we fit in. And that's the trend that we've primarily seen. Brands have really needed to adjust the way that they market, the way that they speak to their customers, to adapt their funnels to that new customer journey.
Right. Now, for our audience, can you differentiate between this top of the funnel and bottom of the funnel differentiation that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so I think, the interesting thing with internet marketing is it's very similar to sales. And I think most entrepreneurs and business people understand sales better maybe than internet marketing. And so the correlation is that the top of the funnel is like your prospecting, so cold calling, and how do you reach a new customer for the first time, and what is that first touch like? And then as they move down to the middle of the funnel, it's usually somebody that you've interacted with, and now you're trying to nurture them and show them that you have a solution to their problem. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you're ultimately trying to close them and get that sale. And so what we've seen is that some of the really top of funnel brand campaigns that are just much more general brand awareness, that a lot of brands have gotten leaner in their investment in that area, and are more focused on, how do we really convert the traffic and the audiences that we have, simply because it's easy to spend a lot of money at the top of the funnel. And although you still have to do that prospecting, a lot of brands are trying to be even more of a sniper with that and focus more on the low hanging fruit that's already in their funnel or their pipeline, and how do we get those closed and really get those to become customers. And then how do we, increase lifetime value, whether that's through cross-selling of products, turning them into advocates to where they're spreading the word for you and growing that referral side of the business. So that's where we see the differentiation. But some things that I would consider top of funnel are like really general display advertising, PR, which we do, would be a little bit more top of the funnel. A lot of the really more creative design, experiential type of work. So that stuff is really critical and it plays a big role. But what we've seen is when brands are trying to get really lean and reduce their investment so that they can control their overhead, that they're really focused more on that middle and bottom, that they can really see a very clear and rapid, return on investment against.
Right, exactly. And I think the keyword that you mentioned earlier is this customer journey. And how do you see it changing, pre-COVID and now that we're in this post-COVID world?
Yeah, so we've seen a bunch of trends. One is that people in COVID are spending a lot more time at home, and some of the things that they used to do for fun, and maybe where they would interact or get exposed to a brand, whether it's at a concert or an event or networking, etc., those have kind of dried up in certain areas. But some trends that we've seen, one is that people are spending a lot more time on social media. And so it's the normal social media channels, but also emerging platforms like TikTok, for example. And then also they're spending a lot more time digesting content, on their TV, and in their living rooms. And so we've seen, connected TV, for example, where we can serve, marketing directly to their TV, whether it's through Apple TV or Hulu or these platforms. There's a lot more eyeballs there, and people are pretty zeroed in on those. So those would be some of the trends that we've seen, is just, where people are interacting with brands and where the eyeballs are and where they're spending their time has really altered, more to those sources that you can get within your house, as opposed to some of the stuff that traditionally you would get exposed to at an office, at events, on the way to the office, those types of things.
Right. Now, it's true that people are more connected to the internet than ever because physical meetings and physical interactions aren't allowed. Now, we've started hearing this new term called Zoom fatigue. And, how do we keep everything fresh, right? So, yes, they're more connected, but at the same time, we have to kind of balance this against fatigue or a lot of noise. So what's the best way for marketers to kind of rise above the noise?
That's a great question. I know firsthand that Zoom fatigue is a real thing. It's just so much computer screen time and so many calls, and it does really take it out of you. I think there's a bunch of different mediums that can be used to tell the story, but I think it goes down to the fundamentals now more than ever, which is, what are the problems that these consumers or customers have, and how do we, really clearly articulate that we have a solution for those. And additionally, with some of them, it's, they don't know that they have the problem. And so how do we, show them that they have a problem or an opportunity that can be solved? So it comes down to getting, really understanding your customer, getting very clear on that persona, really analyzing, how that customer journey has changed, but also, where is their mindset and what has become even more important to them at this time. And then using creative ways to tell that story. And, for example, when we're reaching them and they don't know that they have a problem yet, we don't want to start hammering them and, showing that we've got a solution, because they're not yet in the mindset that they need a solution. And so in those cases, we needed more, help lead them to the water so that they can see, hey, I've got a problem, and then start to move down the funnel and evaluate, how can I solve this? What are things that can help me? So like fitness is a great example, and health and wellness. Those are two categories that we've seen really do very well through e-commerce. And e-commerce in general is very strong right now because people are doing more shopping online because they can't go into malls or retail locations. And so, specifically on the kind of fitness side or health and wellness, people are feeling cooped up. And so touching on that and then telling the story as to how they can, have balance and achieve that, exercise from the safety of their home is a great way to do that. And so in terms of the storytelling, I think video is probably one of the best formats to do that. And people are consuming more video than ever. And so it's these short, impactful videos that, help identify what the problem is and then ultimately bridge them towards that solution. And then lead them to a conversion process that's very easy for them to do. Mm-hmm. So making it very easy for them to check out, giving them reasons why they should pull the trigger right now. And it doesn't have to be discounts. It could be a variety of different ways that you do that to create that urgency so that they take action now as opposed to continuing to shop around. And then, really making it very seamless for them to get this solution. So those are kind of some of the main elements. But I think brands are telling those stories in a variety of ways. But I think video is one that we've really seen emerge, and a lot more demand for creating great video content to tell that story, through this COVID period and through the stay-at-home time that we've seen.
Right, right. Now, should marketers be worried about this unprecedented level of unemployment, and maybe that affects spending habits or disposable income? What are your takes on that?
Yeah, I think so for sure, but I think it goes way beyond marketers. I think one of the biggest, misses that I've seen brands make is as they're working on their product roadmap and really understanding their customers, really making sure that they're building a product and solution with marketing in mind. Because you can be the best marketer in the world, but if there's not product market fit, and there's not tailwind behind what you're doing, it's going to be very hard to get the growth that you want and have that success. So I think now more than ever, brands need to look at their product mix and their offering and really evaluate, is this as relevant now as it was 3 months ago? And, if we continue in this state or, the economy is hurt, and there's more unemployment, there's less spending that's going on, how can you evolve your product offering to match the demand? So in addition to just marketing smarter and more effective and creatively, are there things that you can do to your product to match that demand? So one easy way to do that is to kind of splinter your product apart. And is there something that you can give away that will give that customer great value and prove to them what you're offering, and then you can upsell them onto the core product. So those types of strategies I think are key, and I think it's a matter of the product team and the marketing team really coming together and evaluating the offering and really saying, hey, is this relevant today? And looking down the field, how can we iterate our pricing strategy, our product, our mix, so that it really has tailwind and is highly relevant?
Right, right. Now, as someone in the marketing industry, and this advice is for all marketers out there, and also people who, whose titles and jobs are in marketing. What kinds of signals are you looking for a post-COVID comeback strategy? And what do you think, we should do first?
And when you say signals, what do you mean?
Well, some kind of signals that maybe we're now in a new normal and things have settled down. Whether that's some people say it's unemployment, or maybe the stock market hitting a certain level, and things like that.
Yeah,
Anything specific from the marketing world?
yeah, so in my view right now, and I've talked to a lot of people about it, but nothing makes sense right now. When you look at, what we've just been through, the divisiveness of the country that we have right now, unemployment, and then you look at the stock market, it just doesn't add up. So I don't think that the stock market is the right indicator of the economy at this point. I think it might be more of a lagging indicator, and we might see it clearly in the stock market, in the coming months. But so far, I don't think that those two things have been connected. And I think that the potential impact on the economy is a lot greater than anything that we've seen in the stock market. I think one of the biggest keys to, recovery, I guess, for businesses is having people feel more normal. And so, people being able to go out and go to restaurants or go to bars in a safe way, see their friends and have more social gatherings, just being out in nature and having that be more open and accepting. I think those are really critical. And even for some, just getting back into the office, even if it's a partial team or a very different setup, people start to see, progress through that. So, I really think that that's the big key. And, what we're really monitoring and watching. With that said, I know that when I think about it, we're starting to open our office here. So this week we had 10 people in the office. We were doing a bit of a test run. Next week we have about 30 people that will be in the office. The challenge that we have with that is that we have about 140 people in our office here in San Diego, and it's a pretty open concept office, and we have a pretty high density office. So with our current footprint, and to have social distancing and a safe environment, we could only fit 60 of our team members at this point. And so what we're doing is really catering to the people that are very anxious to get back into the office, and that's very important to them, and then rolling it out that way. But I think for our team, just having some of us back in the office, it's nice. It's great to see those team members, to share that energy. And for me personally, and for our team, I think it starts to show some sign of hope, and really how do we make sure that we can see that light at the end of the tunnel. Right. And I think that that's the key. So those are the things that we're looking towards, and those are the things that, from my own experience, that I've started to see happen, where in our market in San Diego, I think people are starting to feel more normal and are not thinking about COVID and the pandemic, in the way that they were even a month ago or 2 months ago.
Right, right. Well, Grayson, I've asked you a lot of questions, but is there anything that I haven't asked that you'd like to share?
I think just for all of us, in the entrepreneurship world and marketing and business community, now is the time. How can we really help each other? Because the powerful thing about the economy that we have here is that as companies win, it creates more opportunities, it creates more jobs. Growth is the key. And so, that's something that we're really looking at, is how can we partner with other organizations to help drive growth for them and for us, which in turn is going to create more jobs and opportunities, and really help to try to get, people employed and back to work. So, we certainly don't have the answers to that, and I think it's a big challenge, but that's something that we've had a lot of talk about and a lot of dialogue about. And my hope is that other businesses are doing the same, and that, we can find ways to help each other with no expectation of a return, just how to connect others to help them accomplish their goal. And so that's what we've been focused on, and what I'm hoping that many small businesses are focused on, because the small businesses in this country are really the driver of the economy. Right. And the big driver of of opportunity, for people from a career perspective. So it's really on us to stay strong, to weather the storm. And then the one other thing that we've had on our mind is I think that it's going to be a pretty wild news cycle for the rest of this year. And how do we navigate through that and stay together as a team when there's so much divisiveness in the news and in the media and throughout the country? And so I don't think that by any means that we're coming to an end of that. I think it's only going to get louder and more challenging through the year. And so really thinking about that and the mental health of our team, and making sure that we customize the way that we support our staff to their individual needs, because there's just different people that have different needs. And so we need to be more flexible and more customized in the experience that we're offering our staff, so that they can stay healthy, stay happy, and really get through this interesting year that is 2020.
Right, right. Yeah, for sure. Everyone here in the United States, it's been a very challenging 2020. We've been through a lot, and it's only June. So yeah. All right. Well, Grayson, I appreciate you coming on the show. I just want to wish you continued success. And I wish you the best as you started to reopen the office here, as you mentioned earlier. So hopefully better things are yet to come. So again, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate you having me, and wishing the best of luck to you and to all the listeners out there.
All right. Thank you.